What's the most intense, life-changing moment you experienced during your service? My neighbor, Mr. Garcia, asked me this after I got back from my first deployment to Afghanistan. You want the truth? He said, sitting on his front porch. It wasn't combat. It was a kid named Omar. Garcia had been a staff sergeant running supply convoys between Kabul and Kandahar. Dangerous routes, but mostly routine. One day we stopped at this village checkpoint, he continued. And this Afghan boy, maybe 10 years old, starts following our convoy. The kid was dirty, barefoot, and kept pointing at Garcia's MRE while making eating motions. Garcia figured he was just hungry and tossed him a granola bar. But the kid didn't eat it, Garcia said. He ran off and came back with 3 smaller kids, his brothers and sister. Omar divided that single granola bar into 4 tiny pieces, giving the biggest piece to the smallest child. That hit me like a truck, Garcia said. This kid was starving, but he wouldn't eat until his family ate first. Garcia started bringing extra food to that checkpoint. Every week, Omar would be waiting with his siblings, always dividing everything equally. The kid even taught me basic Dari phrases, Garcia added. He'd point to objects and say the words slowly until I got them right. Made me feel less like an outsider. Omar would also draw pictures in the dirt, showing Garcia different routes that were safer for convoys. The kid knew every road in that region better than their maps. One day, Omar hands me this piece of paper, Garcia said, pulling out a worn envelope. It was a drawing of me and him with the words, "Thank you, friend," written in broken English. Garcia kept that drawing in his helmet for the rest of his deployment. But the real moment came during his last convoy through that village. Omar wasn't there, Garcia said quietly. I asked the checkpoint guard about him. The guard explained that Omar's family had finally saved enough money to move to a safer area. They'd used the food Garcia brought to trade for supplies and transportation. But here's the part that changed everything, Garcia said. The guard told me Omar had been giving half of everything I brought him to other hungry families in the village. This 10-year-old kid, who barely had enough to survive, had been sharing Garcia's gifts with neighbors who had even less. I realized that kid taught me more about leadership and sacrifice than any military training ever could, Garcia said, his voice cracking. When Garcia got home, he started volunteering at food banks every weekend. He still does, 15 years later. People think war changes you through violence, Garcia said, looking at Omar's drawing. But sometimes it changes you through the kindness of a child who has nothing but gives everything anyway.